Brian, this is Damien following up with you, man. I just want to give you a really quick overview of what I do for clients and how I may be able to help you. I don't know if it was friends of yours or your family that you were talking about in Vienna who are having some problems selling their home. But just to give you an overview of what I do and the best way to go about trying to sell a home fast, but also for the most amount. This is a presentation I typically go over with new clients. But one of the main things that they want to make sure that they're covering. And just so you know, like when I work with a listing, and so anybody that you may know that may need help, I have a team of people that I'm working with and let everybody specialize in what they do. I do what I do, and I let other people do what they're good at doing. So it's not just me working on helping people sell their home. Um, It's basically a really simple three-step process. The first thing I go over with my clients is price because it's the most important thing, usually the most important thing in selling a home. I don't care what type of condition a house is in, any house will sell if it's priced right. This shows basically the percentage of potential buyers that will come see a home that they're interested in when it's properly priced. If you price it out on the right hand side, you'll see the asking price compared to the value of the home. On the right side, what you're seeing is the percentage of potential buyers who will look at the property. Now, when it comes to selling a house, it all comes down to a numbers game. The more people that come see it, they're interested in it, the more likely you are to sell it. And the more people that come see it, the more likely you are to get a lot of money for it or the money that you want to get for it. And also the more likely you're able to create a bidding war. So let's say you got a house and it's worth 100,000. Obviously that's not realistic in this area, but it's easy for numbers. You get a house that's worth 100,000, so the market value is here, but you decided to market it, 10% above at 110,000. When you put a house in the market for 10% above what it's worth, only 30% of the potential buyers will come to look at the property for various reasons. Either they see it online and they're like, oh, that's outside of my price range, or they do a search for what's inside their price range and the house doesn't even come up. If it's 15% above the asking price, is 15% above the actual value, only 10% of the people will come see it. At market value, 60% of the people will come look at it. 10% below, 75% will see it, and 15% below, 90% will come see it. Now, a lot of sellers have different ideas of how they want to price their property. Based off of some try to price it based off what they paid, what they need, what they want, what their neighbor says, what another agent says, the cost if it had to be rebuilt today. But buyers and sellers essentially determine the value. I was talking to a friend today who was, I don't know if you heard of Bitcoin, with a friend of mine. We're buying and selling cryptocurrencies, and he was asking me how he had basically like 1,000 tokens of close to 1,000 tokens of something that he wanted to sell, and part of it he paid. I think the first 800 he paid 76 cents for per token, and then the other couple hundred he paid like $2. He's like, when I go to sell them, how will the platform know what I pay for each? I was explaining to him it doesn't matter what you pay for it. What matters is what somebody's going to be willing to buy it for when you go to buy it. What you pay for it is irrelevant. You paid $2 for this 200 and 76 cents for that 800, but that's all that matters is when you go to calculate your return, you'll be calculating that, but that doesn't dictate what it's going to be worth when you go to sell it. What's going to dictate what it's worth when you go to sell it is what buyers are willing to pay for it. Same thing with the house. What a buyer is willing to pay for it was what's going to dictate the value of that property. Now, a critical time for a house is the first 3 to 4 weeks. A lot of people think to themselves, oh, I just price my house. It's a seller's market, so I just price my house high. If it doesn't sell, I just drop the price. But they don't realize that the hottest time for the house is the first 3 weeks to a month. And if they overprice their house, let's say for the first month to 6 weeks, far fewer people are in the market for their house once it drops off. the hotness scale, I guess. Um, and in those first 4 to 6 weeks, and fewer people looking at it. And then people start to think too, when it's been on the market for 4 weeks to 6 weeks, the first question I get from another agent is, why hasn't it sold? What's wrong with it? People think something is wrong with it because it's been sitting for a while. So you don't want to you don't want to play the game. A seller typically does not want to play the game. I tell them of trying to price the house, overprice the house, and then bring it back down, because then they're scrambling trying to bring the price down to attract buyers. Really, the best way to go about it typically is to slightly underprice the house, because what that does when you underprice it is, take it backwards really quick, is it brings in more potential buyers. What you want is, when you're selling a home, is a buying frenzy. You want people coming to see the house like, why is this house priced 10% below, or 15% below where it should be marketed. And the other thing that you want is for the house to be in phenomenal shape, to look great, because that drives traffic. And when you got 5, 10, 15, 20 people come to see the house to get their first offer in, that's when you're able to create your bidding war. And once you get the bidding war, that drives the price up above where you want it to be. And I'll show you a live example of that happening. I know a lot of people are afraid to do that, but that's basically how the market works. When a house is priced right, you're going to get offers. But when you're not getting any showings and offers, that means that you're 4 to 6% off in your price. If you're getting low showings, you're 6 to 12% off. If you're only getting people driving by and not booking any appointments, then you're 12% or more off in terms of price. Typically, these are just the statistics. This is a house I sold in Centerville that I was telling you about. Let me show you what happened there. All right, so for some reason it turned off, but I started it back over. But this is the house I was talking about in Centerville that I sold. Now, the previous two homes, they're on the market when I took my client's house on the market, the ones that I used for my comps. Because whenever you're trying to value a house, you're trying to look at what other houses sold for in the neighborhood that are comparable to the home that you're selling. Let's pull up the summaries. So the only two houses I had to look at were these two. They were right around the corner, like less than like a tenth of a mile from my client's house. And the first one was this one here, and I'll just show you, the pictures of what it looked like. I don't know if the agent took the pictures, if they hired somebody to do the pictures or not, but this is what the home looked like. Um, okay, so that's the first house I had to look at. So what I noticed about this house, I looked at the pictures, and I talked to my client about pictures. I always hire a professional photographer to come out and take the pictures, because they do a great job of really making the house pop, which is really important. You got a matter of seconds to grab somebody's attention when they're flipping through homes on the internet, which is where most people see the houses first. So with this house, it was originally priced at $415,000. And then the price was dropped all the way down as low as $409,000. Then it got dropped down to $399,999 before it finally settled on the price at $382,000. It was on the market for 110 days, in a market where houses typically sell, within a couple of 2 to 3 days, typically within a day. Almost you can sell houses in this neighborhood. They were going really fast. And that pretty much was what happened with this home. So 382 was what I was looking at for my client. I feel like my client's house may be in a little bit better condition in this house, so we priced it a little bit differently. The next house I had to look at was this one. This was not closed yet, this house, and because it wasn't closed yet, I wasn't sure what it was selling for. But the agent who was selling it actually owned it too. He's an investor agent. He was a real estate agent. He was an investor. He told me he was, the only thing he could tell me is that he was, you know, close to close to what he listed it for. We couldn't give me the exact amount. So these are the pictures that he had put together for his property. Um, you can look these addresses up online if you want to see him again. He ended up closing on his house at $390,000. Um, Took 3 days on the market to sell. I'm sorry, 6 days on the market to sell it. And this is the other comp or comparable that I have for my client. Um, what I have my client do is I went over to her house. She actually used to be a fitness client of mine for like 20, 15 years. So I knew that net pretty well. But a lot of my people I work with are friends or family members or referrals from people that I know. But I went over to her house with a friend of mine. Took his pickup truck over there. We helped her get the place cleared out. She was downsizing. She had the money and the time to upgrade the kitchen, which I asked her to do. Um, which I asked her what she considered doing. Um, she wanted to get maximum price for the property because typically the kitchens and the bathrooms are in an open space concept and the hardwood floors really sell houses. And she said it was something that she would be interested in investing in doing, so she did that. We got the house cleared out, everything off the countertops, everything above, because you want the house to be as open as possible. This space here had a huge white 1985 type table, was the best way I can explain it. And I encouraged her to get rid of. She didn't want it, so we got rid of that. And we brought this table in from this open dining area right here, so it will open up this space more to make the room look more open and to make it more elegant in the kitchen. It had the kitchen more open here as well. These are the same stairs that you saw in the other two properties, just a different angle, professional photographer, same thing with the kitchen. Um, this area of the couch was here, and we moved it over to the corner to open up the room. The television was right here in the middle of the room. We moved into the corner again to open up the room for more space. This room was cluttered with boxes. We got that cleared out. Bathroom, just made sure that there were no personal items or anything in the bathroom. This is the same dining area where this table was at. We got that moved. And she did a really good job of cleaning the house up and getting it ready. All these houses are somewhere between 15 and 17 years old, all three of them. Those houses are less than a tenth of a mile from this one, and I feel like they look like completely different houses almost, based off of the preparation of my client and the professional pictures that my the photographer did. Um, I try to leave empty spaces, whether it be the driveway or the bedroom or the living room or the kitchen, as much open space as possible so people can imagine themselves in the space, versus them thinking about what my client looks like living in that space. I like for them to think about what's going to look like when they're there. So based off the way that we set up the house for marketing purposes, visually, I think when somebody goes online, they see this, they're going to want to see more because I feel like it's elegant, and the kitchen's upgraded. We got the stainless steel. We put in the stainless steel appliances and took out, the older appliances. Only a few $100, maybe $400 or $500 to get some of that stuff swapped out, and I think it made all the difference. And we priced it right. I feel like it was somewhere in between the other two properties. We were trying to price it slightly below what we believe we could get for it, again, to drive that traffic. And we got it. We got 40-something people to come see the property for the open house. The day I listed it, I had 2 or 3 showings booked within less than an hour of me listing it. And we sold it. We had cash offers and other offers that were well over even. I think the highest offer we got was well over 401,000. But the offer that we took was a stronger offer. I'm going to talk to you more about how you want to go through offers and pick the best one for buyers. But we ended up selling in at 398, and we ended up getting more um, in terms of price. We ended up getting more than both the other houses that were on the market, and we sold the house faster because we were able to generate the amount of traffic that we needed and present the home in a way that created a bidding war. We had a bidding war going on. And it was great for my client. She sold it really fast, and the people who bought it were happy, and they got a nice looking house, and we were able to settle and close, and everyone was happy. This house sold for 390. My client got 8,000 more than that. The other house sold for 382. We got what we get 16,000 more than that. Um, in both scenarios, um, the comps that I used, the houses were sold for less than what the original asking price was. My client's house was sold for significantly more than what the asking price was because it was priced right, in my opinion, and it was marketed right. So that's just an example, one of the examples I wanted to show you what I've done in Centerville, and some ideas of what I've done maybe will help you, to give your friends or family, I don't know, some feedback on what you think may work for them based off of what worked on this house. Um, so I just wanted to share this with you. But let's set up a time to meet either before basketball or some other time that works for your schedule, and I could talk to you more about. I know your desire to buy. I don't know if you want to buy this spring or you're looking to buy right now. We can talk more about that. Like the text I sent you earlier, family in Ashburn I helped buy. They actually, their offer was less than the competing offer, but it was a stronger offer. So it's not always about price in terms of getting the best offer, getting homes, because it has been last year. I would definitely consider it to have been a seller's market. In a seller's market, you want to have a strong offer. And I've lived in Loudon since '01, so I know the Ashburn, Lansdowne area like the back of my hand. So I can definitely help you come up with a strategy to buy around here. But I'll be following up with you to see what other questions you got. We'll set up a time to meet. But thanks for considering me, man, and for asking me. Some questions about my professional opinion about how I may be able to help with your real estate needs.